Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts Spider-Man Far From Home upgraded suit. So I don't typically do import figures because I don't really collect a whole lot of them. I collect all MCU Spider-Man figures, so you know that will include any of and all of the import figures. So we'll see what we can do with these premium figures, especially SH Figuarts, Maifix. There's a lot of articulation. You can get some great posability out of these figures. So I don't take full advantage because I'm just not the best with posing figures. I don't do it too much because I'm not very good at it. But I will show you guys what I can here in this video. I am very excited to have it. From the pictures that I've seen, this figure came out looking fantastic, so I can't wait. So when we take him out of the package, we'll also compare him to the Marvel Legends version, and we'll also see how he stacks up to the Homecoming version by SH Figuarts. And then I guess just because we'll see how he is next to the homemade suit, because that one is SH Figuarts Spider-Man as well, and he doesn't want to stand. So we'll get right to it right now. Okay, before I take the figure all the way out of the package, I want to spend some time looking at the accessories while they're kind of all nicely put together here. So we get this little tong set that you can use for changing out the lenses and the head for the eyes, and then you get this little tool that can kind of help pop those out. So that's pretty cool. We get this long web here, and then we get 4 more pieces, a little bit longer ones and some shorter ones, so you can use those on either arm. That's why we have 4. Those 2 are the same, these 2 are the same. You get that long one, so that's pretty cool. And then as far as additional interchangeable hands, we have 4 additional sets, so pretty cool. We get the wall crawling hands, we get the web holding hands, we get the open hands, the thwipping hands, and then on the figure already are the fisted hands. And then the different lenses, we have 3 sets total, the ones on the figure, and then 2 additional sets. So accessories are pretty good. Basically the same accessories that we have actually gotten with the Homecoming version. So it's not really any different, but at least with this one, I didn't have to get this big old wall piece that I don't end up not using. So can't wait to get to it. Let's get him out. All right, and here's the Spider-Man figure out of the package. And this figure is awesome looking. So much better than the Homecoming figure. I mean, size-wise, when we get to the kind of the comparison, you're just going to be blown away. But this figure looks so ridiculously good, it's crazy. Now, here on the video, as I'm looking through the viewfinder, it actually looks like it is a jet black that they use on the figure. While, yes, it's black, it almost has like a deep blue hue to it. And I think that's normal for a lot of black color or dark colors, but I wish it was a little bit more of a black color. Now that could be just kind of how it is, because I have 4 bright lights kind of all shining, beaming down on the figure. Maybe that's it also. It's just, you know, when I look at it on the little screen, it looks super jet black, and I wish that the figure actually looked like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take away anything from this figure, because the figure looks amazing. So let's get up close so you can see all the cool details. Alright, so here is the figure up close. So look at the painted web lines. Now, if you guys watch, I forget which video I had mentioned this in, but kind of how I feel on the sculpted web lines in a figure and then the painted web lines. Most of the time, I don't like it. You know, the Marvel Legends one didn't have the painted web lines. And I don't mind that because the web lines are sculpted on, but usually when it's sculpted and then paint, it just doesn't look clean for me. Something just looks off about it. But Tamashii Nations on this SH Figuarts figure, they did a great job. It looks amazing. It really helps stand out. I really like how dark the red is. I know this figure, the red was super bright and people said it looked cheap. You know, the more I look at it like next to this one, then yeah, it does. On its own, I don't think it was terrible. You know, maybe the red was a little too shiny. But it is what it is. But man, this figure just looks really, really good. There's some different articulation, or well, it's all kind of similar, I guess. The figure just has a very overall different look to the Homecoming one. There's the look at the back of the figure, and that spider logo looked really good. Looks really good. One of the things that with SH Figuarts, you know, they make good figures, don't get me wrong, but with some of the figures, I just not impressed. So Winter Soldier, I think, was god-awful looking. The Captain America, the Infinity War figures, they looked really bad, and I didn't know what it was. But one of the things that they don't tend to do on a lot of their figures is the textured detail of a suit. Now, on like the Homecoming Spider-Man figure, they did it. You know, there's all texturing throughout the entire figure. On this figure, there's texturing throughout all the black. I really like that. But then you look at some of the other figures where I think there should be texture and they don't. Even like Marvel Legends will put in texture kind of in some places. But one of the weird things about this figure is right on this crotch piece here, it's all smooth. And then on the back, the upper part of these thighs and the butt, it's all smooth. And I don't know why that is, why they stopped doing the texture in just those spots. And it just doesn't make sense to me, unless that's how the suit was, but I don't know that you can really get that out of the movie. It's just a weird thing for me. Like, if it's all textured, why not just have the texture go throughout the whole thing? So I don't know, but that's a nitpick. The figure still looks very good, so I want to clear that up. The paint is all applied nice and clean. One thing I noticed here though, and it's not a big deal even then, is you could see where the red meets the red again. So, you know, there's one little extra coat where the two reds kind of met there, and then you can actually see it here. So maybe it's a coincidence that it's on both, you know, or it just kind of a little minor QC thing or something. But, you know, with Tamashii Nations, you know, lots of people think perfection and they do an outstanding job 100% of the time, but I just thought I'd point that out. It doesn't bother me at all, but had to mention it. And I just pulled the head off. That's weird. So it's got this thing on there. I don't know, I guess that's normal, but it's weird just pulling the head right off. I kind of lifted him and the head basically came right off. So let's zoom out and take a look at this guy's articulation. Okay guys, bear with me here as we go through the articulation, because again, I'm not used to these import figures, but there's a lot of articulation to go over. So first of all, the head is, there's two separate joints. So there's the neck peg, and then there's the peg at the throat where the neck meets the upper torso. So the head, you can, God, I just hate that it kind of pulls off like that, but that's how you change out the eyes. You just pop them out from inside there. But you can't get Spider-Man to look down, even though that kind of looks bad on the ball joint. You can get him to look up. You get the other motion in the neck, which can make it even... Why the head? Why do you pop off so easily? That bothers me. Man, I don't like that. Anyway, so you can look up. You can move the neck to the side, so you can get some pivot, and then you get a full swivel in there as well. And just, again, pops right off. So looking at the shoulder, you can get the shoulder up this high, so that is great. Now there's all kinds of movement in here. So you get the hinge that can go out like so, and then it's also a butterfly, so you can get it to go out, come out forward that much, and it's not really going to go back, so it comes forward a little bit, and then right at where the shoulder meets the bicep, you can kind of pull that out, and then that has its own like little butterfly, so you could turn it that way, you can kind of turn it that way. It's pretty crazy, the motion that's really in there. And then here, the elbow, you get a double jointed elbow, which gives you more than 90 degrees. There's no swivel or anything there, but there is a swivel at the wrist and a hinge, and it's done on a ball joint, so you can get it into all kinds of different motion there. There is a diaphragm joint on this guy, so you can get him to pivot to the side a little bit, pivot to the other side a little bit more as well. You can get him to lean forward quite a bit and to go back quite a bit. And then there's another like diaphragm joint there at the torso, because there's, you know, it's not really an ab crunch, so you can get him to go down that much, and then you couple it with the other one so you can get him to bend down that much. There's a little bit of gappage there, so kind of be mindful of that. It's going to go back ever so slightly, and again, the head just comes right off. Man, that really bothers me. I'm being super nitpicky on this one now. Legs can go out that far apart, so he can do the splits. He can kick forward quite a bit. He can kick forward that much. Going back, not really a whole lot. There is a swivel up at that upper thigh as well. And there's, let's see the leg kind of with that butt piece. You can, that's how you can get it to really kind of go out and do all kinds of crazy poses with that leg. You kind of have to work around it a little bit. You get a double jointed knee, which works out great, and they have this curved knee, so they always have very good looking knee joints on the SH Figuarts figures. There's no boot swivel, but foot can hinge down. can hinge up a little bit. There is nice pivot in there, and then we have toe articulation for the feet. So articulation is great. It's a matter of, you know, getting them into certain poses and how to do it. That's a difficult thing for me, but let's look at some other things. So let's see how he looks with the different set of lenses. Okay, so when switching out the eyes, you really want to make sure that you're looking at the instruction sheet so you know exactly what to do and how to do anything with the accessories, like popping out that back piece so you can use it for the stand, the web pieces, and all that good stuff. But for the eyes, you see, you just pop that head that easily comes off. You use this little stick piece, which I thought was tongs because I'm an idiot and didn't look at it closely, to push out those lenses, and then you can get the other lenses to push them in. So we're going to go through that right now. Okay, and here are the lenses out of the package. Let's take a look at the other two sets of lenses. Okay, so to do this, you use the little stick piece, and you can see the little pegs of the eye lenses in there, so you just use that to kind of push them out, and that's not working out so well, to be honest with you. I think I did it. No, so trial and error, keep trying. Yeah, no, so I'm gonna do it off camera. That was a super pain in the ass to do, but I finally got him out, and that's how it looks without the lenses. Now let's see with the lenses in. Okay, so here is the second set of lenses. You can see that these ones are squinted down a little bit. First set was kind of the lenses all the way open. These ones are squinted down. They are silver color. Look pretty good. Now let's look at the ones that are almost all the way squinted down. Okay, and now here is the third set of lenses all the way squinted down, and I gotta say it's much easier to change out these lenses after that first initial one. So it's difficult to get the first one on and to the second pair on, but once doing it once, it kind of loosens it up a little bit, so it makes it much easier to do. Because initially when I was doing it, I really bent the hell out of this plastic trying to push it down because it didn't seem to want to come out. So it does get easier, which is good, and then they're also in there strong enough that they're not just going to fall out on their own. So it actually works out pretty good. No more complaints from me. Okay, so switching out the hands is pretty easy. You just pop them off, but be careful, that peg is pretty small on there. So again, we have wall crawling hands. You just pop right on and look like so. There's the wall crawling hand. Looks pretty good. Also have an open hand. That looks good as well, and easily pop off as well too. So that's pretty cool. Then we have a thwipping hand, so you can pop the thwipping hand on, and then you have that. But in addition to with the thwipping hand, you get these web pieces that you just kind of put over the peg like so, and then peg the hand into it, so it looks like he's, you know, thwipping and the web's coming out of his hand. So that's pretty cool. There's a couple of different web accessories that we get. We get that shorter one, and then we also get the longer one here. So we have that long web piece there. And then we also get the web holding hand. So we can actually hold the long web piece that he comes with in his hand to make it look like, and I bent that and this thing is flying all over the place. You can actually push that into the hand so he's holding it. So you could do your web slinging poses with that. So pretty cool. Those are the hands. So here on the back of the package, in the middle of that spider emblem, there's this little piece that you can actually pop right on out, and it reveals a peg hole that you can use for a stand. So it's got a little adapter piece. You can port it in there, and then you can use it for a different stand. Now this figure does not come with a stand, but like the previous Homecoming version came with the wall piece that has part of a stand. Then the Iron Spider came with the Tamashii stage, so you can use that to port it in, and it would just port on into the back. Okay, so here is the comparison to the Marvel Legends figure, and you can see the two of them side by side. Now, here in the video, it looks like, you know, the black is very similar, but when looking at this one in person, the black looks black. This one, it almost looks like, you know, indigo or whatever color, so that has the advantage. But overall, of course, the SH Figuarts is a much, much better figure, and as well it should be, as it's a $90 figure compared to a $20 figure. But here they are side by side, and you can see that they do look pretty good. Again, I like the size and prefer the size of Marvel Legends more so because the SH Figuarts really won't fit in scale with any other Marvel Legends, but they do both look Really good. Looking back at the figure, the SH Figuarts actually has a lot more line work in the legs. I don't actually remember those lines being in the suit, but I could be wrong. You know, again, Marvel Legends is going to be based on earlier concept art, whereas SH Figuarts, maybe not. I'm not really sure actually how that works, but there's one of the big differences. And then, of course, has the painted on web lines. But there they are, side by side. And while we're on the topic of Marvel Legends, here is the new Tom Holland Peter Parker head sculpt from the Iron Spider Iron Man Mark 50 Target exclusive 2-pack. And the head kind of just sits on there, and I think it's a little bit big. It's not terrible, but you know, if you use sticky tack or whatever it's called, you might be able to get it to work, but you know, you just have to kind of set it on there, and that's how it looks. So it's not terrible, but I don't think it's the best, but it can kind of work depending on how you get it to stay on there. Okay, so here is the Far From Home upgraded suit versus the Homecoming suit, both SH Figuarts, and you can see that Tamashii Nations actually went a long way in improving on a Spider-Man figure, because the one on the Homecoming, while it looked pretty good, it was kind of awkward. It's very small in size, so you can see it's actually a little bit shorter, but then he's not very wide. He's very, very thin, and I didn't really like it that much, and I wasn't super impressed with this figure, although it was good. It wasn't great, whereas this one is great. The improvements that they made are fantastic. The joints are hidden a little bit better than this guy. Just all around a much better figure with the upgraded suit. Okay, and here he is next to the SH Figuarts Iron Spider from Avengers Infinity War. And you can see that, again, size-wise, he is definitely bigger. So Tamashii Nations, again, improved on what they were doing prior to. This one has extremely tiny hands. Look how small those hands are versus these things. This figure was a huge disappointment to me. You know, when I first had it in hand, I was very excited, but looking back at it now, alongside this new one, I'm thinking, wow, what did they do? So huge difference. So Tamashii Nations really knocked it out of the park with this new figure. Okay, and there is my review. I was going to do a comparison with the Maifix Iron Spider, but his arm came off and I cannot get that arm back on for whatever reason. I just can't get that peg to work. I was going to do the Peter Parker head sculpt and see if I can get it on this guy, but then I cannot remove this neck. So I'm having all kinds of complications today. So Maifix, you're over there to the side, even though I think that you would do fantastic figures and you would probably make the best upgraded suit from Far From Home. I am not happy that I cannot get that arm back on. I'm trying everything that I can to force this arm right back in there, and I can't do it, and everything just falls apart, and I'm just fed up with it. Anyway, that is my review on the SH Figuarts Spider-Man Far From Home upgraded suit. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of this video. What do you think of the figure? Are you going to be picking it up, or have you already? Let me know. Hit that thumbs up button if you guys liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.